Did you see that when DB came back and played for us, that
When DeWanna Bonner first stepped onto Indiana Fever's roster, it looked like a basketball fairy tale in the making. The franchise had just found its rising superstar in Caitlin Clark, a generational talent in desperate need of veteran guidance. And here came Bonner, a Hall of Fame-bound scorer, a proven leader, a championship-caliber presence. Her signing caught even the most tuned-in fans by surprise. But it was the good kind of surprise, the kind that makes you believe something special is about to happen. The press conference that introduced her painted a picture of perfect alignment. Bonner talked about the location, about being closer to her children, about wanting to be another piece to the puzzle that would push Indiana deeper into the playoffs. Sophie Cunningham, her former teammate in Phoenix, and now her new one again in Indiana, didn't hold back in praising her. She's a hell of a basketball player.
I don't believe in booing former players unless they left, unlike some.
Cunningham said. She can score from anywhere on the court. Caitlin Clark echoed those sentiments, calling Bonner the strongest voice in our locker room. The Fever front office was buzzing. The fans were energized, and for a brief moment, it felt like Indiana had all the pieces they needed to turn potential into dominance. But reality arrived fast, and it was ruthless. The numbers told the first part of the story. Over 9 games, Bonner's stat line was almost unrecognizable. 7.1 points per game, shooting percentage that made fans squint in disbelief, and rebounds and assists that barely moved the needle. But worse than the numbers was the body language. Bonner played like someone who didn't want to be there. Possessions came and went with no spark, no urgency, no veteran edge. The same player who had promised to bring leadership seemed disengaged and uninterested.
DB? Because DB was one of my vets when I was in Phoenix, and then
Fans who had cheered her, a rival began to exchange puzzled glances. Teammates noticed too. The electricity that was supposed to come with her presence never materialized. Then came the benching. Coach Stephanie White made the difficult call to sit Bonner, a decision that spoke volumes. Benching a supposed leader just weeks into the season was no small move. It was a warning shot, a chance for Bonner to respond and reclaim her role. But instead of rising to the challenge, something else happened, something no one could have predicted. One day she was on the bench. The next, she was gone. No statement, no explanation, just an empty space where her veteran voice was supposed to be. The team listed her absence under personal reasons, the vague catch-all phrase that usually hides more than it reveals.
Time away from them, so that and the core that they have here now.
Behind the scenes, frustration grew. Sophie Cunningham and others were left in the dark. Caitlin Clark, who had been counting on Bonner's leadership, was suddenly without the mentor she'd been promised. The rookie's public comments stayed diplomatic, but you could see the unease in her eyes. Something wasn't right. Then came the whispers. Bonner wasn't dealing with an injury. She wasn't handling a family emergency. She simply didn't want to be there anymore. And more than that, she was working on a move to Phoenix mid-season. While still on Indiana's payroll, that revelation turned disappointment into betrayal. Bonner had taken a max-level contract from Indiana, played on poorly, quit without warning, and was now looking to join a rival immediately. For Fever fans, it felt like a slap in the face.
Is somebody that, is a Hall of Famer, like a legend, not only a good basketball player.
For her teammates, it was even worse. A complete abandonment in the middle of a fight. When Sophie Cunningham finally spoke up on her podcast, Show Me Something, she confirmed what everyone suspected. Bonner hadn't been happy in Indiana from the start. Cunningham even admitted she wanted Bonner to be happy and respected her career accomplishments. But she also made it clear that the way Bonner left was unacceptable. It's okay to be professional about it, Cunningham said, suggesting Bonner could have at least sent a text to her teammates. Not a long message, not an emotional farewell, just a basic acknowledgement. Hey, sorry this didn't work. Out. Good luck. But Bonner hadn't done even that. That's what made the betrayal sting. It wasn't just that she left, it was how she left. No goodbye. No explanation. Just silence.
Over here, she signed a max contract. She knew Phoenix didn't have the bread. She got...
Cunningham called it what it was, some BS. It's the kind of thing that earns boos when you come back to town, and those boos came. On July 30th. At Gamebridge Fieldhouse, Bonner stepped onto the court wearing Phoenix Mercury colors. The crowd didn't wait for the opening tip. From warm-ups to every single touch of the ball, the boos rained down. It was loud, relentless, and unapologetic. Indiana fans made it clear they hadn't forgotten. Caitlin Clark, sidelined with a groin injury, sat on the bench that night, but her energy was off the charts. Cameras caught her celebrating every defensive stop against Bonner. When Hull blocked Bonner's shot or forced her into a shot clock violation, Clark was on her feet, grinning ear to ear. It was a subtle but unmistakable signal. This locker room hadn't forgiven or forgotten either. Then Alyssa Thomas, Bonner's fiancée, poured gasoline on the fire. She taunted Fever fans, claiming Bonner had joined a real team, a jab. That landed hard, especially coming from someone who had previously accused Indiana fans of racism. Now, she was mocking them in their own arena, but the scoreboard told the only story that mattered. The Fever won 107-101, Bonner. 4 points on 104 shooting in 21 minutes. The same player who didn't want to come off the bench in Indiana was now struggling just to make an impact in Phoenix. After the game, the Fever stayed classy. Aaliyah Boston and Coach White deflected questions about the boos and the drama, focusing on their team's win and their goals moving forward. Meanwhile, the new players who had replaced Bonner, Ari McDonald, and Chloe Beebe were thriving. They fit the system, they brought energy, and most importantly, they wanted to be there, and that's the real takeaway. Bonner's exit, as messy and disrespectful as it was, might have been the best thing that could have happened to the Fever. It forced the team to rally around each other, to build chemistry without distractions. It opened the door for players who were committed to the cause, with Clark's return looming. Indiana's future looks brighter than ever. Sophie Cunningham's revelations didn't just expose the truth about Bonner's departure, they reminded everyone that talent without commitment is worthless, and that in sports, loyalty still matters. The Fever didn't just survive Bonner's betrayal, they turned it into fuel. So when the history of this season is written, Bonner's ghosting of the Fever won't be remembered as the moment Indiana fell apart. It'll be remembered as the moment they found out they were better without her. Good riddance. I'll let you decide. If you think Sophie Cunningham was right to call out Bonner, drop a good riddance in the comments. And if you're riding with the Fever as they chase their 2025 redemption story, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter. Because in Indiana, this story is just getting started.